Hello, everyone. This is Chala, Dincoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert, and you are here with another edition of Polish My Pitch, our podcast that is really strange because it's only 5 minutes and every guest bravely comes on and shares their elevator pitch and gets to, be polished. And so here we are with another guest. Tim, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Tim James. I'm the founder of chemicalfreebody.com. We are a mission-based organization. It was quite a few years ago, about 10 years ago, I had really poor health, gut issues, blood coming out in my stool, skin issues. I was overweight, wasn't feeling good. And I learned about proper detoxing and nutrition at the Hippocrates Health Institute. My friend got cancer, so we went there to learn all about that. And in his healing journey, I actually healed myself by just trying to support him. And I healed everything up and he healed himself, and we're buddies 10 years later. And now I've turned that into a business. I'm a private coach. I help do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching. We've created a chemical-free, truly natural detox and nutrition line, which is very hard to find nowadays. And we just help people turn their health around from the inside out. We really focus on gut health and emotional health.
Very good. Wow. I mean, that probably usually gets some interest, right? When you do that.
Yeah, it's a real story. I mean, I was a financial advisor before this. I wasn't looking to change careers. I had tens of thousands of dollars invested in that program and that business. And I actually just had hung out with my old business partner type, the guy I was working for, Jeff, and I walked away from taking over his multi-million-dollar business. I was the guy keyed to take over this whole thing. And after I transformed my health, I just realized, like, people need to know about this. I mean, I'd see all these clients, they'd come in with all this money, but they didn't have health, and they'd work their whole life building up all this money. Then they'd have a life event, like a health crisis, and then they'd spend all their money just trying to get a little bit of their health back. And I was like, I saw the writing on the wall. And then when you have a friend that has cancer, like my buddy Chala on my baseball team, before Charles got cancer, he went through Western medicine, chemo, surgery, and all that stuff, and he died 80 pounds under his weight. And we had to do like a fundraiser deal because he didn't have any insurance. And he left 3 little boys behind from ages 6 to 17. And then I saw my other friend, do this natural healing thing, which I thought, it was like all woo-woo stuff and like whatever. But I was there with him at the institute, and my body went through those physical changes, and I felt like 20 years younger, like after 7 days at that place. And then I had first person experience, and I knew that was true. And then I committed to him to do it with him. And, in a little over 2 years, he was free of his cancer, and I healed myself up, and I'll be 47 in June. I literally feel like I'm 19 every day when I wake up. I have abundant energy. And that's what I help people do, is I help people get their life back so they can protect their freedoms in this country and be a good shining example to their friends, their family, and their community.
Great. Okay. So do I have permission to polish your pitch?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So the kind of elevator pitch that I fix is the kind where you don't have the opportunity to ask them a lot of questions. It's literally, you are standing there with a microphone in front of thousands, hopefully, of your audience and your target market. And then when you say your 30-second elevator pitch, they want to call you. They come home with you. Like 70% of them want to call you. So the first thing we start with is you get more specific, because you talked about curing cancer. You talked about curing wanting to get out of bed kind of problem, like the energy, the sluggishness. You talked about lots of different problems, even just within the few minutes that we talked. So the first thing that I would do is I would figure out who is the person who's the most in need for what you do as a group. Is it cancer patients? And it doesn't mean that in the world, that's who needs you the most. In your networks, who needs you the most. I don't care about the world. It's about who hears you. So then, normally we wouldn't have just 5 minutes to figure that out. That's what I do for a living, is I figure out that sweet spot. But if I were to just ask you to guess, which is really dangerous to do, but let's just guess who you think needs you the most as a group.
Yeah, this is something I've struggled with, because the principles I teach help everybody. That's the problem. But I would say the people that most are gravitating towards me are recently are guys in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that relate to my story. right?
What's the problem you're solving? What's the painful problem that you're solving?
You know, getting their health back, you know, losing the big belly, and getting their energy back, and getting rid of the pain and the joint stiffness, and getting their mental clarity back. You know, and then I don't know if it's such a hard thing, but it's really diverse, because like a third of my clients have cancer and high level issues in my private coaching practice. A third of them are like high level athletes, want to expand, build muscle, and, you know, recover faster, win their matches or whatever. And then a third are just, you know, business folks, or people that want to lose weight and look younger longer, you know. And they
Okay.
want what I have. They want nice skin.
You just named 3 groups. Which one would pay you the most?
Well, unfortunately, it's the people probably in crisis mode, you know.
Okay. Yeah. The higher the pain, the more.
Yeah, the people that have, you know, that they've been diagnosed with serious illnesses, and they want to go hardcore all in with the lifestyle, which, you know, that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. After I got divorced, I actually decided to go on this mission, and I've been going from house to house. I'm living with a gal right now who's got stage 5 breast cancer, and I'm detoxing her entire house, helping her with a relationship. I'm helping, you know, detox the pantry, the refrigerator, showing her how to juice and grow sprouts. And we're growing like 70% of the food here. And
okay,
you know, and just
that's so different than the executive who has brain fog. Like, do you see how it is night and day? And if I could dream, you would always be in front of the person who needs you the most, right? Like, your marketing would place you in their world constantly, because they are gathering, they are listening to things, they're consuming information. So you'd be in front of them. And as soon as you opened your mouth and somebody said, a podcast host said to you, Tim, what is it that you do? Then you would say, for the person who has a debilitating disease, who's tried every last thing, what I do is I move in and I change the toxicity of their lifestyle and their food, and get them well much better than regular medicine. That's what I'm assuming that you do, right?
Well, and I've just kind of let that come to me. I've had referrals for like 10 years on this business, because, but the other thing too is I've stayed away from marketing it, because I'm afraid of getting in trouble, because I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to cure people. I know that I can't heal anybody. People have to heal themselves. I just show them what I've done. And then I have a group of friends and doctors and associates and healthcare practitioners that I plug into when people have certain circumstances, and I get information from them. I share it with my clients. They go home and try it, and they implement it.
Yeah, and you could say all that, but in your elevator pitch, if you're way more specific about this, like, I never knew that there was a human who could move into a place, if I had cancer, who could move in with me and change my world, change what I'm eating, change what I'm sleeping on. Do you see, like, that's, to me, that's hitting it right on the head. And what are some of the results that you get for them? Is it sooner healing? Is it better healing? Is it higher percentage of healing? Like, what would you say?
Well, they just, you know, they start healing. I mean, that's what happens. Like, I've got a client right now, and the thing of it is, I just did this for 2 years because we wanted to record stuff for a documentary down the road. Plus I had about 4 or 5 really important people in my life that were dealing with serious stuff. And they asked me they asked me to move in with them. So that's not what I want to do for a living. In fact, this might be my last gig doing this. Okay. So I'm mostly coaching people over the phone in my private practice, and I just opened a group coaching so I can coach a lot of people. So I don't know, maybe I should move towards the business executives, that.
Yeah. So that's like what you're hitting on is that strategically you don't have a marketing plan, because a marketing plan then tells you, I'm going to pick that one based on the profits and the lifestyle that I want to live. And then I'm going to be in front of them constantly instead of in front of everyone. And then I'm going to message just to their pain and to their solution, and then throw up examples and stories of people who are that person, who are like that person. Do you see how even your elevator pitch should help you do that?
All the marketing people I've talked to, they've always said, not the red ocean, you want blue ocean, you want to be very niche down. And I've struggled with that for years, because I'm like, I can help anybody. I mean, I help young couples that can't get pregnant. We help them get pregnant usually within 3 to 6 months by boosting up their immune system and, hydrating their cells and getting the pollution out of their body. And I help people that have fibromyalgia and gut issues and Hashimoto's and thyroid. I mean, we have hacks for all these things, and a lot of it's foundational. And people want to
Yeah,
build
no,
muscle.
I
I
get it.
help
I get it.
athletes
I
build
mean,
muscle.
you're no different than a dentist. Everybody has teeth, right? Most everybody has teeth. You're no different than a company that sells water. I mean, everybody needs to drink water, right? But
Yeah, we teach
it,
people how to drink the right water, you
yeah,
know?
but it has to do, so what marketing has to do with is growth. So if you want to grow faster, and it doesn't mean you stop serving those people, you can serve everybody you like. But if you want to double your business, then you keep doing what you're doing, but your communication going forward, every single dollar and every minute that you spend in marketing, which is podcasts, like appearances, this, everything,
Right.
is then focused, and then that doubles your growth, because it's not like everywhere, right? It's just in one direction. It doesn't mean you stop doing everything else.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's, you know, I'm just trying to. It's like, who do I want to serve? That's been the big question in the last 6 months, because I decided, like, I'm really good at helping people with their health, but I sucked at marketing. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to become a world-class marketing expert, and I'll learn that over the next couple of years. I'll become really good at it, and then I'll just help people with their health. That's my plan now, because it's
Yeah.
like, I'm like, can be the best kept secret in the world, but if nobody knows about you, then you can't help anybody.
Yeah, and that starts with targeting, because if somebody told me I'm a gynecologist and I'm a podiatrist, I'd be a little nervous, right? If I had something really wrong with me, I would go to the specialist. So that's why marketing tries to make people focus, so that they can look like a specialist in that one field, whilst you can still do everything else, but do one at a time. So that all your content you're pumping out and all the things that you're saying on podcasts is talking to that one person and about one thing. And anyway, I mean, we can talk about that. We are way past 5 minutes, but you don't have to wait years to become a good marketer. All you need is a niche, and then to get in front of them and to discover that niche. You can never do that on your own. You have to ask the market. And that's what my programs do. And we can talk about that offline if you really do want a niche. But there's something called niche resistance, right? Some people they're just dead set against it, because they think it's going to limit them. They think it's going to make it boring. They think they have all these people to serve, and how dare I just pick one, type of person to help. So all of that is getting in front of you, probably from being able to niche for all these years, if you've heard it more than once. But anyway, we can definitely talk offline if you're more interested in niching, but there's a scientific way to figure it out in 2 weeks. So you don't have to worry about, and it's not you who should figure it out. It's the market that's going to tell you.
Yeah, they'll tell you what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a way to ask them, for sure. But thank you so much. Was this helpful when you go now and you are able to introduce yourself? Do you get the fact that you can start with like one group of who you help, and then what the problem is that you help with and how?
Yeah, it's just going to be deciding what that is. It's going to be said, but
Yeah.
I used to be in like speaking, organizations and stuff like that before, and working on the elevator pitch, and there were some elevator pitch specialists, but that was when I was doing financial advising. So now it's different.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I just like fire, I always fire, and then I aim later. I just get going. I'm just like always trying to, I just want to get this message out to as many people as possible, because I was such a mess, and I had kids, and I knew something was wrong. And like, when you got blood coming out rectally when you go to the bathroom, you have problems. And I had my head buried in the sand, and I don't have any of those problems anymore. And there's a lot of people that do. People are having gut issues of big time today. It's like 85% of people have gut issues at some level.
But even trying to reach the world at the same time isn't as efficient as trying to reach and help one group out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because people only purchase after 5 to 7 times of contact. So
Right.
They need to hear you and see you 5 to 7 times. And people who are similar hang out together. They listen to the same shows. They listen to they're in the same Facebook groups or help groups or whatever. So that's why focusing makes sense, because they're seeing you over and over and over. Whereas if you're trying to hit everyone, it's so diluted. It's so dispersed. They'll never hear you again. Right? It's heavier lifting. Anyway, I'm really passionate about niching. So just as you're passionate about what you do. But thank you so much for being a guest, and we will catch you on the next podcast. All the best.